Alright, what's going on, everyone? So Wizards of the Coast just revealed the Bloomburrow starter kit deck list. We are going to get a starter kit with this set. Unfortunately, with Wizards of the Coast's ingenious website, before a set's released, you can't see the cards. They don't put the cards in their database before a set releases, even if all the cards are revealed. So we're going to go to MTG Goldfish, where we can see the cards. Wow. So first off, these values are not accurate. This set isn't out yet. These prices are not accurate at all. And if we go down, this one's $100, and no, it's not going to be worth that much. So let's take a look at these decks. I can zoom in just a little bit here. So we have a 2-mana Trampler that has power and toughness equal to the number of creatures you control. It's actually not bad. I mean, if you have one other creature, it's a 2-mana 2/2 trample, which is not exciting, but that's like the low end. It's usually going to be like a 2-mana 3/3 or 4/4 with trample, especially in these colors. I don't know if I'm going to do upgrade guides for this. If I do, it's going to be late. It's going to be after I do the starter kits on Arena, but we'd probably play 4 of these, provided it's well, not $3 each. We have Phineas, Ace Archer, 2-mana 2/2 Vigilance Reach. Pretty good. It's a rare. Could be expensive. We don't know. When it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control that's a token or rabbit. So once again, seems to care about tokens. We also have tribal rabbits. Yeah, both of these rabbits. That's a rabbit. That's a frog, but that's a rabbit. So yeah, it looks like lots of rabbits. So it puts a +1/+1 counter on every creature that's a rabbit or a token. Then if you control total power 10 or more, you get to draw a card, which is yeah, fine. We have Warren Elder, 2-mana 2/2, 4-mana to give your creatures +1/+1. That is pretty bad and definitely cuttable if I do an upgrade guide. But we see a theme, which is go wide and pump. We have Clifftop Lookout, 3-mana 1/2 reach. When it enters, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land. Put that onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom of your library. So that's fine. It's 3 mana, find a land. It's also 1/2 with reach, which is it's kind of whatever. It's not bad, but it's not great. 3 mana 2/3 as long as you control a token. So far, we have not seen a way to make tokens, have we? No, nothing makes tokens. So once again, we have another token payoff, but no ways to make tokens yet. 3 mana 2/3 gets +2/+0 and trample if you have a token. Seems pretty bad. Like the top end, if you have a token, it's a 3 mana 4/3 with trample, which is fine, but it's not like, you know, I'm not like jumping with joy for that. You know, it's good. Like if this was just a 3 mana 4/3 with trample, I'd be like, yeah, it's okay, I guess. But that's only if you have a token. Tree Guard Duo, 4 mana 3/4. When it enters until end of turn, target creature you control gains vigilance and gets +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures you control. This is not exciting, but it's fine. I mean, if you control like 3 creatures, right, giving something +3/+3 vigilance is totally fine. It's like having this be kind of big and then giving it vigilance for a turn seems fine. We have Fecund Greenshell, 5 mana 4/6 reach. As long as you control 10 or more lands, creatures you control get +2/+2. So that's a payoff for the lookout, right, that finds the lands. Whenever it or another creature you control with toughness greater than its power enters, well, let me just look. We have that doesn't count, that doesn't count, that doesn't count. 1/2, that counts. 2/3, if you don't have a token. 3/4, But if something has more toughness than its power when it enters, you look at the top card. If it's a land, you put it onto the battlefield tapped. Otherwise, you put it into your hand. So you're getting a card no matter what. And it happens when it enters. So when it enters, no matter what, you're doing that. And then it'll trigger on some of these other things. Yeah, like I see how this works, right? Because this also triggers it. This could find 2 lands in the late game with this. This is a 3/4, 2/4. Yeah, there's a few things for it. I don't know. It seems like a cool card. It seems like the card that I would take out of the deck, but then like put it in another deck, because it seems pretty cool. Just not sure if it's perfect for this deck. What's next? 5 mana 3/4 flying. When it enters, put a counter on target creature you control without flying. I want to point out that we have not seen a way to make tokens for this and for the other thing that cared about tokens, this. So 5 mana 3/4 flying puts a counter on something, but it can't be something with flying. Nothing crazy there. 5 mana 2/4 flying. When another creature with power 3 or less enters the battlefield under your control, put 2 +1/+1 counters on that creature. It's power 2 or less. So what? That counts for this. Not that. Not that. Not that. It would count for itself if you had multiples of them, and not this. It's okay. So we care about counters, we care about tokens, we care about going wide, but we don't have a lot of actual ways to like make tokens or go wide. pretty weird. You'd think there'd be more offspring cards. 6 mana, 4/4 vigilance. When it enters, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. That's reasonable. Whenever a creature you control with a counter on it attacks, double the number of counters on it. That is very good with Phineas. So you can see some good stuff. I like this card. I like this card. I like this one. Some of this other stuff is very fillery. Of course, the ones I like are the rares, right? Well, this is uncommon. So how do we make tokens? We have Giant Growth. That's fine. We have a Rabid Bite, which is a fight spell. We have a removal spell. There we go. Create 3 1/1s. But we have 2 copies of it. So like, I mean, it's 3 of them. 3 1/1s is a lot. Rabbit response, creatures you control get pumped. We'd like more tokens for that. And you get to scry if you control a rabbit for 4. Carrot Cake, when it enters and when you sacrifice it, make a 1/1 and scry 1. And you can sacrifice it to gain 3. And Colossification. Okay. I think this out of the box is very unoptimized. It's like we want to make tokens, but we don't have a lot of ways to make tokens. We want to go wide, but we don't have a lot of ways to go wide. We care about counters, but we don't have enough ways to put counters on things. So I could definitely see the upgrade path. We want more counters. We want more tokens to soak up those counters. Probably cutting stuff like Warren. This card is pretty bad. This one's pretty bad. Yeah, I could see this being pretty good if you adjust it quite a bit. But how balanced is it? We have auto limits. The ideal build of these decks, they don't have to be perfect. They just need to be balanced against each other. So let's see what this deck does. Mockingbird. X and 1 for a 1/1. You may have it enter as a copy of any creature on the battlefield with mana value less than what you paid for, basically, yeah. And then it remains a bird and has flying. So if you had like a 3-drop, you could basically pay 4 to have an extra copy that has flying. You're paying +1 for flying, basically, and a copy of any creature. And it can't be anything on the battlefield. So it can be your opponent's stuff. So you can make a flying version of one of your opponent's cards, which is kind of interesting, actually. Bellowing Crier. 2 mana, 2/1, enters, draws a card, discards. Totally reasonable, perfectly fine filler card in a deck that's trying to either find combo pieces or find spells. If it's a spell slinging deck, which it kind of looks like. What the heck? Coruscation? I don't know what that word is. But it's a mage, it's an otter wizard. It has offspring, so if you pay 2 extra, you make a 1/1 copy of it. I really like this ability. Kind of reminds me of Kicker, where it's fine. It's a 2 mana 2/2. I don't know what it's. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you deal 1 damage to each opponent. So that's fine. A 2 mana 2/2 that's gonna pop the opponent for 1 for every non-creature you play is fine. But if you top deck it on like turn 7, the fact that you can just pay 2 extra and get 2 of them is fantastic. Love Offspring. Very cool looking ability. Here's the problem though. Whenever you cast a non-creature, but there's not very many non-creatures. This must not be revealed yet. They don't have it in their database. Rabid Gnaw sounds like a Rabid Bite, but in red maybe. But we want to cast non-creatures, and we have what, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. That's pretty low. Stormcatcher Mentor. 2 mana, 1/1, haste, prowess. But we don't have non-creatures. And since the sorceries cost less, if only we had more of them, huh? That's weird. I mean, so what's this card? This is the one that, yeah. It's 3, draw 2, but it costs 1 less if you control an otter. If you control this, it's 1 mana, draw 2. That's pretty cool. I just feel like we need more spells, right? Thieving Otter is, I mean, that's great. That was an Ikoria. 3 mana 2/2, draws a card. When it hits the opponent, you'd want this in a tempo deck with lots of spells, like removal spells, bounce and burn. If you can bounce and burn your opponent's stuff, this hits them and draws cards, which is fantastic, but we don't have any. We have 3 Flame Slash, and we have a Charmed Sleep, I guess. So we have 5 removal spells. Water Spout Warden, 3 mana 3/2. When it attacks, if another creature entered under your control, it gains flying. So this is a good tempo card. It's definitely common draft chaff, but it's weird, right? Because you need creatures to enter, so you need a lot of creatures. It feels wrong for a spell slinging deck, but yeah, it's okay, I guess. Alania's Pathmaker, 4 mana 4/2. When it enters, exile the top card. Until your next turn, end of your next turn, you can play it. That's good. If this was, you had to play it this turn, this would be so bad. It costs 4. You're never going to be able to cast anything you get. But since it lets you wait a turn, it's fine. It's a 4 mana 4/2, which isn't great. You're probably just trading this with anything, and you get an extra card. So again, feels kind of tempo-y, which it seems like what this deck is going for. Bria, Riptide Rogue, 4 mana, 3/3 prowess again, but not enough non-creatures. Other creatures you control have prowess. That's awesome. That does kind of want us to go wide, but I mean, even if we just have a couple creatures, multiple instances of prowess with a bunch of spells is not bad. Whenever you cast a non-creature, target creature you control can't be blocked. My God, there's so much good tempo stuff. We just need more spells. Oh, that's the problem here. Alanya. Okay, so this is from the Pathmaker. Whenever you cast a spell, if it's the first instant, the first sorcery, or the first otter, other than this, you may have target opponent draw a card if you do copy it. Okay, so you get to double your stuff, but your opponent gets a card. And it's free, right? You get to double for free, but they get a card. So that's the trade-off. It's a 5 mana 3/5. If you do copy that spell, you may choose new targets, of course. This is kind of cool. You can double your otters, right? Yeah, getting copies of stuff like this and this seems pretty good. Still need more spells though. And then we have Quick Tusk Boar, 5 mana 5/5 for each triple haste. Yeah, this is just some filler big smacker thing for new players. I think generally decks like this can kind of stall out. And so for new players, you know, you just put a big stupid thing in. Like, here's your big stupid thing if you get stuck, right? And it looks like, yeah, it's got more raw power than anything here. Oh, there's a 4/6, but there's one copy of a 4/6. But, you know, obviously if they get counters, oh, there's also this. Yeah, I think the idea is, you know, this is the big smacky thing that got more raw power than anything over here, depending on what they have. It's interesting. I think that's just like a balancing thing. We've got Mind Spring, X, draw X cards, and standard now, yeah? How does this work? If it's in the Bloomburrow starter kits, does that mean it's in standard? Is it? Because it's not in Bloomburrow, is it? It is in Bloomburrow? I need to zoom out, but I'm not going to. I'm not sure. Weird. Interesting. Well, I mean, that's pretty cool. Pearl of Wisdom is great. Most of the time, it's going to be 2 mana, draw 2, which is fine. Could be with this one thing here. It could be a 1 mana, draw 2, which is just awesome. Flame Lash is a bit expensive, 4 mana to deal 4. It is to any target though, so you can go face. We have a big sword. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. First strike, vigilance, trample, haste. This also feels like a balancing thing, because the first strike is the main thing here. It gives this some oomph because it doesn't have a lot of power. It's not making big stuff. Also, this deck is making big things, but this has got like the flying, and we've got flying here. We have the potential unblockable here. So this one's gonna run away with raw power, whereas this one's trying to be a bit more tempo-y and get some like surprise power, but it needs more spells. Charm Sleep is good. It's fine. It's okay. Totally reasonable. And I don't know what this does, but it sounds like I would imagine Rabbit Gnaw does damage to a creature. So what do I think? I think the decks are fine. These starter decks are very, very cheap. Like this one's 20. I think these are a bit expensive. $15, right? That's $8 per deck. Are these decks? Oh, I didn't even know there were Assassin's Creed decks. Interesting. Yeah, these decks are pretty cheap. So is this worth $8 per deck? Probably. I think it's probably fine. I do think you usually get an arena code too, so that's cool. There's some good cards here. I think this card looks pretty good. I think this card could be fine as a top end in a counters deck. I think some of this, oh, but I didn't mention, by the way, you won't get this super fancy version. But I think there's some pretty cool stuff here. There's lots of filler. You would expect that from a $15 package with 2 decks, right? I can see where the decks are supposed to go. This wants to go wide. It wants to go big with counters. And we just need to get some more token producers in it, I think. And it'd be pretty good. And this really just needs more spells. It needs to get a lot of the probably like Thieving Otter out, maybe this out as well, even though I think it's fine. This definitely out, and it just needs more spells to make this prowess stuff a bit better. But yeah, I think they're fine. They're cheap. Again, this is like an entry point. Someone who is new to Magic buys this and plays it with a friend, and that's fine. Maybe we'll upgrade these in the future. I guess let me know if you're interested in that. And man, that's it. I don't know. I don't know how to end this video other than to say those are the decks. I would encourage you to buy them at a local game store, but I guess I can put an Amazon affiliate link in the description if you're interested in that. Support a local game store though if you have one. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.